all that you really need to get started on your entrepreneurial journey is an idea. Granted, some ideas are better than others, all right? I will be the first to vouch for that. Over the years, I've had some absolutely phenomenal ideas. Well, I thought they were phenomenal ideas at the time, then they turned out not to be so phenomenal over time. Right, so we have suggested the value of building an incubation period into our lives. But here I want to introduce a fascinating idea, and this is for all you innovative rule breakers out there, right? If you are one of those people who just cannot be told no, then you're going to love this. So I want to go a little bit psychological, right? This is a fascinating gentleman named Mr. Jürgen Habermas, right? He's actually still alive. I think he's in his late 80s now, born way back in 1929. Maybe he might even be in his 90s now. Now, Jürgen has made his way into many of the psychological textbooks in the field of social psychology more than anything else. Now, granted, conventional, I'm going to give you a little bit of context here, a little bit of education. So, social psychology for many years has been taken in some directions that have been more helpful for others. Where some people will look at everything that's wrong with society, there have been one or two social scientists, right, or psychologists who've proposed that society evolves when people pluck up the courage to defy its traditions and its norms. All right, and this was a term that was first proposed by Jürgen, I think it was back in the 1960s. He actually said that the evolution of society is dependent upon a defiance of its own traditions. All right, so all the rule breakers now are going to be clapping their hands and saying, fantastic, I'm not a bad rebel after all. All right, I'm actually a social pioneer or a cultural pioneer. Pioneering is about going first, all right? It's about stepping outside of the comfort zone. It's about seeing that something needs improved upon or something needs to be integrated into culture or society or the economy in any aspect, in any sphere of influence. And then obviously following through by doing something about it. Now, here is the ideology. We're not here giving you a step-by-step process. I want to just plant an idea inside of your mind, all right? And this is that society's traditions aren't always in the best interest of individuals. Governments' policies are not always in the best interest of all individuals. Sometimes some corporations exist to make profit, and that's a good thing, but it might not always be in the best interest of individuals. As today, throughout most parts of the Western world, we live in the midst of a democracy, don't we? It's important we understand this idea that individuals must have the freedom to question and transcend traditions, which is a freedom that we all have, or most of us have. Granted, it's going to be a little bit more difficult in some cultures and some countries to be innovative than what it is in others. So obviously, I'm here residing in Scotland, where we have literally very little resistance against innovation or new concepts that defy society's traditions. So some people will do this. Some people will question traditions or that which currently exists through reasoning, discussing, contemplating, planning together in the public sphere. All right. Have you ever heard the term that leaders go first? Or leaders eat last? Sometimes leaders go first by eating last. I think that was a book written by Simon Sinek around about 6 or 7 years ago. If we can pull together enough people who are of the same mindset that change needs to happen in this area, or an improvement could be made in that aspect, or this area, or that product, or this service, or there's a huge gap in society because our government isn't meeting this societal need or that societal need, well, this is where we recognise opportunity. This is where we recognise opportunity when society's traditions are not meeting the needs of all the people. Now remember, your product, your service, your innovation doesn't need to meet the needs of all people right away. All you need to win is a loyal following. All right, think about how it was that Steve Jobs started all those years ago. Steve Jobs had this crazy idea. Now, he'd been associated with Microsoft for many years, and he had this idea. He said, there should be a computer in every single household. Some people back then said, what? Why on earth would every single household need a computer? computers should be just for business purposes. Steve Jobs said, no, there should be a computer in every single house. Every single household should have unlimited access to information. But then look at the innovation that came from this. Smartphones, iPods, which no longer are being created, they've somehow managed to work their way into iPhones, iPads, what else is there? There's iMacs. I'm a bit of an advocate of Mac, it probably goes without saying. Once there's an old saying, once one's gone Mac, once never goes back. All right, this has definitely been true for me because I love the innovation. I love how easy my life becomes when I'm able to synchronize my computer or my computers with my phone and my tablet and my MacBook and my, everything else Mac. iWatch is something that I don't have yet, but essentially this one innovation craved huge way for social improvement, because then guys like me could come along and invest a relatively low amount of money into a computer and then create training products that have influenced people from all around the world, right? So I'm just giving a bit of example here, right? How one rule breaker created opportunity for other rule breakers like me and millions of others, right? To give voice to their passions and their frustrations on a global scale, all right? So, society's traditions aren't always in the best interests of individuals. Individuals must have the freedom to question and transcend these traditions, which we will either accept or we won't accept. All right, if we debate this, then we might not quite be too ready for entering onto this entrepreneurial journey. If so, we need to pull together a bit of a tribe, right? We want to pull together advocates of our idea, people who can see what we can see, who believe in our vision, our mission, and who are going to be committed to working with us, right? Definitely not against us. You don't ever want to collaborate with anyone who blocks you or gets in your way. If you're able to nurture a general consensus, then what you might be able to then potentially do is pave a way for social improvement through the delivery of your product or your service. So the question you want to be thinking is, what societal need does your product or your service or your proposal deliver upon? What are the tangible deliverables? What are the outcomes? What are the actual benefits? Because if we can deliver something valuable that people benefit from, then we strengthen our society as a whole.